Hello everybody, my name is Oliver from Neo and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea. Today, big session of Sencha. Sencha is the main green tea from Japan, and what I will do today is to take the same Sencha, brew it at a different time, once longer and once on the 1 minute normal time, and just to see what a little bit the difference is. I wanted to take two Senchas today because I am a little bit tired, so I am going to hop into the day with twice the same energy, and I just want to see how is the difference if I brew them at a different time. So Sencha, as you might know, the main tea which is drank in Japan since the 18th century, when the rolling method, so the kind of breaking the cells method, was invented in the tea leaf preparation brought in from China. Since then, Sencha had a huge run in the last 200 years, and it became really the main tea in Japan, and Japanese people are the ones they have the highest per capita tea drinking share, at least in cold bottled green tea. So now we want to go into this main tea, and we're gonna have a look at what is the difference when we brew the tea at a different temperature. For this, what I brought with me, for sure, two similar kyushus, so the same kyushus. Then I brought twice a Sencha, so you can see here, this is an unshaded Sencha, but pretty dark Sencha, so it's grown in a valley, it's grown in a region where there's not too much light, but it is unshaded, meaning that it is not covered before harvest to push the theanine, so it has a light note, so a little bit of a fresher note. And what we know when we steep the tea a little bit longer, we know that the tea releases a little bit more of catechins, a little bit more of the bitter tones. Also, more nutrients are in the first steeping released, but through the several steepings we know as well that we get these nutrients from steeping to steeping. That's why the Japanese invented these beautiful teapots, just to have little portions of good taste, similar taste of high quality tea. They stay at the same level. So what I always suggest you, and what also Japanese in general do, is that they steep the same tea over several steepings with 1 minute first, and then often they go down to 20 to 30 seconds. That's what I do with the one tea, and with the other one I'm just gonna leave it in for 3 minutes. So we'll start with the longer one. So I just take 5 grams of these tea leaves, give it 65 degrees Celsius water, which is around 150-155 Fahrenheit. So slightly, normally I'm around 60 degrees. I love 60 degrees, so 140 Fahrenheit is absolutely my favorite temperature, because it gives the water a little bit it's still hot, but it's not too hot to drink it, so you don't really have to wait, and you kind of really get the whole spectrum of the tea. Here I'm going up to 65. Sencha, slightly hotter, but still pretty close to my favorite temperature. And then I have the 1 minute steeping, which I will just prepare already as soon as we are through with the 2 minutes of the other one. Okay, so this Sencha is from the region of Shizuoka. Shizuoka, also the biggest green tea production region in Japan. It is said that 50% is produced there. Yabukita, 75 to 80% of all the green teas in Japan are from the Yabukita. Reason is that Yabukita is not really sensitive to the cold, so you have little frost kind of problems during the springtime, which can be for weaker cultivars, for weaker green tea types, an issue. That's why also the Yabukita is nearly up to 95% of the whole production of Shizuoka, and we have the main kind of variety of green tea, different green tea plants, is mainly in the south. So that's why Shizuoka definitely a good address if you want to buy the standard Yabukita cultivar. And we're gonna start with this one here. Good. Now we leave it in for 1 minute, and then we will see how the difference is between these two teas. So this tea is from a collective, from the Hagiricha farmer. It's a collective of farmers which is based in Shizuoka, and this is actually their finest sencha. So we tend to a little bit go for the upper class sencha, because I often feel, especially in Shizuoka, when you go to kind of the standard sencha, it has a little bit too much of these tannins, it has a little bit too much catechins, so slightly drier, slightly more bitter. Meanwhile, the better quality senchas, they go quite good in the kind of the soft or the smooth direction. So that's why I personally like in Shizuoka especially to go a little bit on the upper class of the teas. So let's go, we give it 5 seconds more, and now that's it. So definitely already big difference in color. Always try to get out all the water, that it doesn't post brew in your teapot. So really try to get the drops, all the drops out, and you already can see it quite strongly in the color. Here the 1 minute brewing quite light, so golden, slightly yellow, and here we nearly go already in the orangey tone, so it's quite strong, it's very intense. So you see that the tea definitely releases much more into the water when you leave it at 2.5 to 3 minutes. Here at 1 minute, definitely slighter in terms of brewing. Now let's look how the tea tastes when we go into the different minutes. So minute 1 or 1 minute. Light, buttery, sweet, not too savory, a little bit of a zesty undertones, a little bit fresh in the end, which is normal. Shizuoka is tending, in my experience, is tending to have a little bit more of catechins. There's always a little bit this freshy, citrusy undertone, which can a little bit drop off with weaker or with a little bit less quality sencha into astringency. But with good quality, really, it's like a zesty taste note. It's really nice. For that, if you're not like looking for this strong umami sweetness and no astringency, Shizuoka can be an interesting region for you. It's really like kind of flowery a little bit in the beginning, not as flowery like as the oolong, but there's a kind of a slight flowery, also butteriness to the tea, and then changing over into a very slight freshy, citrusy or fresh citrusy taste note. Now let's see how the long brewing tastes. And it is really releasing much more of the bitter particles. So in the beginning I was like, wow, this is strong, this is nice, but now in the second part, then suddenly behind you had this astringent kick which is coming in, and that's why it's so important that you don't go too long with Japanese green tea. Here we really have like a first intense brewing, but then you just have this catechins which just release with the longer brewing. It is said that you release also more of the detox particles, but you really have to try to keep a balance, because theanine is a big part of rendering the tea sweet. This is an amino acid. It's really good for your concentration, focusing in, zooming in. And you have the catechins, which are then mainly on the side of detox, mainly of liberating your body from free radicals. So it has also this part. The other tea has it too, but you just release the catechins slower, and through the different steepings you will get them anyway, but you always keep a nice balance between theanine and catechins, so the taste renders or still stays quite sweet and quite smooth. And that's why you should do it at 1 minute if you want to have this balance. If you're saying, no, I want to have an astringent tea, I want to feel like this detoxifying effect because I really believe in that, then go for long brewing. Is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just a personal taste kind of preference, and I like it when the tea really shows a little bit this smooth and sweeter side and not goes too much. I don't mind where it's a little bit this kind of this citrusy or a little bit even astringent undertone. I don't mind about this, but I like it when it's nicely balanced, and this I get the most when I get into the 1 minute. So longer steeping, definitely going more into the astringent direction. But let's finish this one here and go to the second one. Let's see how the second one, if it's how the balance moves. It's quite, but it has a little bit of this, a little bit of a toasty flavor, which is nice. Kind of a sunflower seeds note as well. I think that's a little bit the buttery part I had in the first brewing of the 1 minute. So it releases a little bit more of a nutty flavor, while here just finer, smoother, it glides also. It kind of feels a little bit like it's more delicate. You have a little bit to wait, kind of a nanosecond more for the taste to evolve, but then it's very smooth and kind of sweet, flowery, and buttery at the same time. Pretty nice. Now, number 2. So you see also the difference here. Maybe I can show you. It's a slight difference, but there is definitely one there. So this one here has a little bit more, the leaves are a little bit more closed still, so they're opening up also from brewing to brewing, while here we have a much more open, or where the teas are more open. Good. And we're just going to leave it in 20 seconds. And what I'm here doing now is just to check if the kind of more astringent tone, it stays in this tea also in the second brewing, or if the second brewing changes and they get closer together. That's what I'm curious about now. So first brewing, definitely a big difference. Now just take these two and pour them in together. Voila. Good. So what do we see? Same color. Here a little bit darker, slightly, but very, very slight. So the difference is nearly neglectable. So let's see, 1 minute, that's the 3 minute, but second steeping only 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, now we have more of a citrusy tone. So what is nice about the Mafuji Sencha is that it changes also quite a bit in taste, kind of taste notes from brewing to brewing. Here first it was really buttery, sweet, soft also, and here we have much more of a little bit this zesty tone, so this refreshing tones coming out much more in the second brewing. And I'm curious to see how brewing number 2 of the 3 minutes is. It stays quite astringent, so it seems like when you are already brewing it at 3 minutes, these astringent tones, the leaves tend to release a little bit more of this astringent tone. So definitely also the second brewing of this is quite bitter. It even gets a little bit more drier, so you're losing a little bit kind of this toasty or the kind of sunflower seed flavor had in the beginning. It becomes really dry. Meanwhile here, still a nice sunflower mixed with a little bit of a zesty flavor profile. So it really, what happens with this longer brewing, and also when you play with the temperature, so if you go up with the temperature to maybe 70, 80 degrees, which is 100 up to 175 Fahrenheit, then you're definitely releasing much more the bitter particles. So you kind of kicking the tea out of balance, and it seems that this misbalance stays over brewing and brewing and brewing. While when you have this balance of the 60 to 65 degrees, you do it 1 minute and then you just keep it, and the theanine kind of seems to release slower and counterbalance the catechins. So this is definitely what I experienced this morning. Better in the 1 minute, more stringent in this one. If you love astringency, then you could definitely go there. If you want to try it at home, do it. See for yourself what you like better. But my suggestion to you is definitely 1 minute and then 20 seconds, 20 seconds, or maybe even another 20 seconds. It depends on the tea. You can go up to 4 or even 5 brewings. So this was the daily sip of today. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you have any questions, please do ask me. Please ask me any questions you like. I'll try to answer them as good as I can. And I wish you a great day. See you and bye-bye.